It started as one of those nights brimming with the promise of carefree enjoyment, filled with shared giggles, inside jokes, and a hint of gentle teasing. The kind of evening where you let your guard down because you're surrounded by those closest to you. We converged at my dearest friend's apartment, a small circle of just four. The lights were softened, faint music played in the background, and the scent of pizza boxes blended with the sharp tang of affordable wine. He was seated next to me on the couch, his arm casually draped behind my shoulders, his smile easy, his eyes warm. After over a year together, I thought we'd explored every significant facet of one another. Sure, there were parts of my past I kept hidden, not out of dishonesty, but because I believed some chapters were better left sealed. That evening, though my perception of concealed truths was about to come undone, the idea to play truth or dare sprang from my best friend, swept up in a wave of longing for our wild teenage years. Laughter broke out, and everyone agreed without hesitation. Before I could find a courteous way to bow out, the questions were already flying across the room. Most were lighthearted. What's the most embarrassing thing you've done in front of strangers? Or, I dare you to send a goofy text to someone you like. The wine softened the mood, making the room's edges feel warmer, and we were all relaxed. Then, during the game, someone dared him to ask me a truth question. I remember his playful smirk, laced with curiosity, as he leaned in, creating a private moment between us. In a tone that seemed teasing but held a deeper edge, he asked, "What's the boldest thing you ever did with someone you dated before me?" My heart froze. Two voices clashed in my mind. One pushed me to deflect with a breezy lie and move on. The other, fueled by the game's energy, the wine, and a quiet urge to be open, whispered that honesty might be safe. After all, hadn't we promised from the beginning that truth was the foundation of our connection? So I spoke. I shared a story from years ago with an ex, a moment of reckless spontaneity that no one would have suspected of me. I offered just enough detail to shift the air around us. His smile vanished. The arm behind me slipped away. At first he was quiet, his eyes blinking as if grappling with my words. The others tried to laugh it off, hoping to restore the vibe, but the change was unmistakable. The room's warmth had chilled. His mind seemed to wander, caught in a cycle of my revelation. The game fizzled out shortly after. We found reasons to leave, and the walk to his place was cloaked in silence, so still I could hear my heartbeat over the faint buzz of distant cars. Inside his apartment, there were no raised voices, no accusations, just a look in his eyes that made me feel like an outsider. When he finally spoke, he asked why I'd never brought it up before. I explained that it wasn't relevant to our life together, that it was part of a chapter I'd long since closed. I reminded him we both had pasts before we met, and I'd never held his against him. But he shook his head, saying it wasn't about blame. It was about the image of me he'd held in his heart, now cracked. In the days that followed, a gap widened between us. The little gestures, his hand reaching for mine, the impromptu kisses in the kitchen, the way he once gazed at me like I was his safe haven, disappeared. He wasn't cruel, but he wasn't fully there anymore. It was as if my one truth had built an invisible wall, one we couldn't tear down. I tried to fix it. I apologized, though I knew my past wasn't a fault. I spoke of our shared happiness, the trust we'd cultivated, the love we'd grown. But his eyes kept drifting to some distant place. Our last conversation before the end was strangely serene. He said he still loved me, but he couldn't shake the mental picture of my past, couldn't unhear my words. Then came the words I never expected. "I can't be with you if I keep seeing him when I look at you." And with that, it was done. Not because of anything I'd done in our time together, not because of a current betrayal, but because of a truth from years ago that should have stayed buried. I left that night with a strange pain. Not anger, not regret, but a profound sadness for how delicate love can be when it encounters the wrong question at the wrong time. Sometimes, it's not the secrets that unravel a bond. It's the truths we think we're prepared to hear, until they're spoken aloud.